India was in mourning on the 9th of October 2024. One of its favorite sons, Ratan Tata, passed away at the age of 86. The who's who of politics, business, entertainment, sports, you name it, paid tribute to a great man whose contribution to nation building, to entrepreneurship, to strengthen its private enterprise will serve as an inspiration for generations to come.
रतन टाटा जी के निधन से मैं बेहद दुखी हूं। मेरे उनसे व्यक्तिगत संबंध भी थे और मैंने उनको जब भी वो राष्ट्रपति भवन में मिलते थे, उनकी विनम्रता और सादगी से मैं कभी नहीं कह सकता था कि वो देश के एक प्रसिद्ध उद्योगपति, बल्कि उनको मैं एक नेक इंसान मानता था। वो उद्योग जगत और दूसरी चीजों से भी ऊपर उठ करके थे। यही उनकी विशेषता मुझे लगता है हर देशवासी को बहुत प्यारी लगती है।
काम करने की पद्धति को दोनों को उन्होंने परिवर्तित किया और पहले की तरह आज भी टाटा समूह भारत के उद्योग जगत में एक ध्रुव तारा बनकर है। उसमें रतन टाटा जी का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। देश के अंदर सूचिता के साथ अपने उद्योग का, अपने समूह का विकास करना, देश के सारे कायदे कानून और रूल्स रेगुलेशन इसका पूर्णतः पालन करते हुए अपने उद्योग समूह को प्रमुख स्थान पर बनाए रखना और इसके साथ साथ अपने ट्रस्ट के माध्यम से देश की सभी समस्याओं का समाधान कर एक अच्छा समाज बनाने का प्रयास भी करना, चाहे अनुसंधान का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे मैनेजमेंट का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे एजुकेशन का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे कैंसर के इलाज की सारी सुविधाओं को देश के हर हिस्से में पहुंचाना हो। रतन टाटा जी के नेतृत्व में टाटा समूह ने इसको बहुत अच्छे से कर दिखाया है। आज श्री रतन टाटा जी हमारे साथ नहीं रहे हैं, परंतु उन्होंने जो लेगेसी छोड़कर जा रहे हैं वो लंबे समय तक देश के औद्योगिक क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले, नेतृत्व करने वाले सभी लोगों के लिए पथदर्शक बनेगी, रास्ता बताती रहेगी, इसका मुझे भरोसा है। मैं आज ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि उनकी आत्मा को परम शांति अर्पण करने का काम करें।
देखो, रतन टाटा बॉर्न इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट और एक फिलांथ्रोपिस्ट भी था और वो सही काम करता था। इंडस्ट्री में कभी अफरा तफरी करना या किसी और तरीके से पैसे कमाना ये नहीं था। वो हमेशा जो सच है उसी सोर्स से अपना काम करके देश को भी बचाना का कोशिश किया और हमेशा वो इसमें भी ये कहता कि देश पहला, उसके बाद बिजनेस। तो इस ढंग से काम करता था। तो मैं अपने हृदय से उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ।
लगता था कि रतन टाटा पूरे जीवन भर, हमारे जीवन भर, आने वाले जीवन में हमेशा रहेंगे, क्योंकि कुछ लोग आप उनको हमेशा मिलते नहीं हैं, बट उनका एहसास देश के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में नज़र आता है, देश के चैरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशन में नज़र आता है, देश के आबो हवा में नज़र आता है, अच्छाई में नज़र आता है। तो आज मैं कहूँगा कि देश ने अपना एक रत्न खो दिया है और उनका नाम था रतन टाटा।
उनका जीवन ऐसा था कि वहाँ से बहुत कुछ है जो हम सीख सकते हैं। मेरा ये प्रिविलेज था कि मैं उनके साथ काफ़ी मेरी करीबता रही कई सालों तक और बहुत कुछ सीखने मिला मुझे उनसे। आदर्श पुरुष थे कई तरह से, तो हमको उनकी जो ज़िंदगी है सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए।
सर, कोई ऐसी बात जो आपको याद आती है कि उनसे हुई मुलाकात के दौरान, कोई ऐसी बात?
हमेशा बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थे। उनको अपने कंपनीज के बारे में हमेशा सोचते थे 24/7. He's an outstanding person.
Born in 1937, Ratan Tata was part of a family that was already an established name in business. Not only did he have big shoes to fill when he took over the responsibility of the Tata Group, he was doing so at a time when India had not managed to overcome its socialist hangover and when the license permit Raj was not only active but some would say overbearing. Tata remains a household name to this day because of the diversity of its operations, stamping its imprint on multiple spheres of business. Ratan Tata's willingness to take risks, to diversify, to seize opportunities, to have the foresight to estimate which sectors have potential for growth, and of course, his extensive philanthropic activities and a belief that profit making should be backed up by contributions to society have defined his legacy.
I have thousands of memories. I've known him since 1990. All I can say is a great human being and a great Indian has left our country. And he's left the world more poor, he's left the world more desolate, and that's the tragedy. But he will live on. I've tweeted that he should get the Bharat Ratna, as he should. He is truly India's Ratan. He's truly a man who defined everything a good Indian should be. Patriotic, decent, dignified, and all-embracing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Murthy, for joining us here on Times Now. Of course, difficult times, not just for you, but the entire nation as well. But how would you best remember Ratan Tata? You've always expressed deep admiration for him in the past as well. Today that he is no more, how would you remember him by?
Well, I knew him for a long time, and with great affection I remember him. Irrespective of his position, he was very kind to me. Man with a great integrity, extremely simple, very compassionate, and what he thought, what is in his mind, in his heart, he always talked that.
I think that's very beautifully put. He was like a pole star. But ma'am, Ratan Tata has always emphasized about philanthropy. That has been one of the cornerstones of how he led his life. What's your understanding by it?
Yes, as a young girl I joined House of Tatas and I learned the basics of philanthropy there. So, the simple way of living, what we would talk, we have to walk the same thing. You should talk something and walk something is not correct. You should care for employees. You should lead a life of, which should be very, very high integrity, and always remember that compassion should be part of business.
Ratan Tata began his career by handling a blast furnace at Tata Steel in 1961. 2 decades on, he would become the chairman of Tata Industries. In the interim, he had stints in the Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company and joined Tata Consultancy Services in 1970. In 1983, he developed a strategic plan for the Tata Group and launched India's first iodized salt, or Tata Namak. In 1986, he became the chairman of what was then India's national carrier, Air India, and 5 years later, he succeeded J.R.D. Tata as chairman of Tata Sons and Tata Trusts. The early 2000s represented a period of expansion as well as key acquisitions. In 2000, Tata Tea acquired Tetley Group, and in 2008, Tata would also acquire Jaguar and Land Rover. In 2006, Tata diversified its business to launch Tata Sky, entering the DTH space, and in 2009, Tata would launch India's cheapest car, Tata Nano. And just 2 years before Ratan Tata's passing, Air India would return to the Tata Group as part of its privatization. Eventually, Ratan Tata would go on to control over 30 companies operating in over 100 nations spread across 6 continents. Importantly, 60% of dividends from Tata Sons have been allocated towards charitable activities. Tata Trusts have also developed cancer care facilities in different parts of the country, and Ratan Tata himself and through his companies gave entrepreneurship a boost through investments in over 30 startups.
This is a time when the entire nation is mourning the demise of Ratan Tata. What are your first thoughts? What is running through your mind when you heard about the demise of India's titan, Mr. Tata?
The sense of loss I feel is at so many levels. I feel, first of all, a sense of loss as an Indian. There are certain people who during their lifetime become an important pillar which upholds the structure of the country. And Ratan Tata was one of them. People don't know of what he contributed to building modern India. It's a sense of loss of a titan who built great wealth but not for himself. It's a sense of loss of a titan who built India's image outside India. It's a sense of loss of a person who today represents a dying breed.
The care he showed for his employees was something that always stood out about Ratan Tata. During the 26/11 terror attack in Mumbai, when the iconic Taj Hotel in Mumbai, owned by the Tata Group, was also attacked, of the 33 people who died, 11 were hotel employees. Not only did Ratan Tata pledge to reopen the hotel, he also pledged to take care of the families of the employees who were injured or killed in the attack.
It was never about himself. Never about himself. You have no idea of what was done post 26/11 for the staff of Tata's. Very few people outside the organization know. I am very privileged to say I was a small part of the structure which was created. Nobody knows what he did. And the whole idea was there was no talk about it because this was not about publicity. This was not about aspiring for headlines. This was about people.
Not that there haven't been controversies, but none have dented his personal image or his reputation. After Ratan Tata's passing, the Maharashtra government announced a day of mourning.
एक अनमोल रत्न कहते हैं, वो रहा नहीं। ये भारत का कोहिनूर हड़पला, भारत का कोहिनूर रहा नहीं। रतन टाटा जी हमारे में नहीं रहे, ये बहुत ही वेदनादायी दुखद घटना है हमारे लिए। लाखों लोगों को उन्होंने उद्योजक बनाया और आज मैं यही कहूँगा कि उनको देखकर लोगों में ऊर्जा आती थी, प्रेरणा आती थी और वो हमारे महाराष्ट्र और हमारे भारत देश का अभिमान है।
A state funeral was held following Parsi religious rituals, but priests of all religious communities were present. The tributes poured in from loved ones, from associates, from colleagues, from ministers, and from people representing all walks of life. And on a final note, let's leave you with this excerpt from an interview of Ratan Tata with Times Now and Times Now Bharat's Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar from 2008.
It's a privilege to have you with us, Mr. Ratan Tata, on Times Now for the first time. It's been a tough last few months for you. What was your toughest moment?
You know, I think there was no toughest moment. There were many moments of great tension. when there was a sudden act of aggression or when there was an assault on or intimidation on some of our people. Because on a big project like this, you need to have the motivation and the enthusiasm of the people who are on the site. And they look to you, they look at your eyes when you tell them that they have to work in that environment. And you have a responsibility for their safety and for their family's comfort level when they're working there.
Mr. Tata, you spoke about being caught in the political crossfire. But we in India have known about corporate rivalries as well. They've been age-old in this country. What do you think really happened? Political crossfire or corporate rivalries?
Certainly there was political crossfire. There's no doubt about that. That was out in the open. And I think it's an unfortunate crossfire because I think the Nano project can come and go many times in a state. But what does happen is a state like West Bengal requires to rebuild the confidence of investors again, and each one of such events detracts from that. As far as corporate rivalry is concerned, there has been from time to time statements from various sources of involvement in these affairs of fueling the flames or funding the activity by vested interests. They may be corporate rivals or they may be vested interests of one sort or another.
Mr. Ratan Tata, you're on the Prime Minister's Advisory Council. You're the chairman of the Investment Commission. And the entire corporate India was rooting for you throughout this imbroglio, if you can call it that. If Mr. Ratan Tata's investments are not secure, many would say, whose investments are secure in this country?
I hesitate to give you the answer I'm about to give. But in India, for the very reasons that you mentioned earlier, there are many who would find a solution for this problem which we could not find. If somebody publicly or privately says we could have found a solution, I'm afraid that option was not open to us, so we chose not to have that as an option.
Do you feel let down that the center didn't step in? Could they have?
I don't know whether they could have, but to the extent that some of the political parties in a covert kind of way supported Mamata Banerjee because of their own difference with the ruling state government, I think that was sad.
Why Gujarat, Mr. Ratan Tata?
Well, we've been courted now by many, many states. I think if one state stands out as a state which acts fast, where truly at the very top the chief minister seems truly committed to making the state prosperous. We have been always impressed by what Mr. Narendra Modi has been able to do in terms of administering and managing the state in a very efficient manner. He holds to his word. I think that's, if I could dwell on that a minute, I think that's very important. One really has a sense of faith in Mr. Modi that if he were to say that this will be done, it will be done.
The decision to come to Gujarat was made very quickly. Any specific reason for the urgency?
Well, you know, we had lost a great deal of time in the whole affair at Singur. It was extremely important that we relocate with the least possible loss of time.
Mr. Tata, also what people would want to know is, when will the Nano be rolled out? And will you stick to the cost, the 1 lakh rupee car?
Okay. I knew somewhere along the line this was going to happen. I just want to say that it would be our endeavor to commence rolling it out as close or within the same timeline that we had hoped. The volumes will undoubtedly be less, but I think we will try to bring the car out in its productionized form within that same time frame, more or less. We've had a terrific setback, but I hope we can retrieve some of that time in some makeshift manner. People have called it Plan B, whatever it may be. As far as the cost is concerned, I surprised people at the time of the launch. So why don't we wait till the car is actually launched?
Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Ratan Tata, and we truly wish you the very best for all future endeavors
Thank
that you may have in your mind.
Thank you very much. Thanks.